Do you feel you are carrying a lot? You make things look normal, you're functioning as usual, but something doesn't feel right within you. That feeling of being all alone in a room full of people. You feel overwhelmed. You feel pulled in many different directions. And the strange part is, you do not tell this to anybody, share with anyone, because you are the dependable one, the responsible one, and you do not want to look weak. And you do what most men do, suffer in silence and just push through. This is what I call the overload phase in the silent burnout curve, the point where burnout actually begins. And it happens most often to high responsible, high performing people. And it's not just you and me who go through this phase. Even elite performers like Virat Kohli had gone through this phase, and he too pushed through these challenges. And what pulled him out was not pushing harder, it was the understanding that what was actually happening inside his body. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact framework, what helps high performing men come out of this phase. So you can stop managing the symptoms and actually fix the root cause. I'm Shibu Varghese, and this is the Resilience Pulse, building personal mastery for high performing men. So what is overload phase? Burnout doesn't begin when you collapse. It begins much earlier, in what I call the silent burnout curve, during the overload phase, when things start sliding down. Here, nothing looks wrong. You're still showing up, still handling responsibilities. But internally, your system is carrying more than it can recover from. And that gap between responsibility and recovery is where burnout actually begins. Let's look at why does overload happens. Think about how this started. From early on, you were good at what you do. You handled things well, you solved problems. You showed up consistently. Because you were good at what you do, people noticed it. They trusted you. They relied on you to trust with their issues or with their problems. And slowly, more responsibility came your way. They appreciated you. The appreciation was genuine. And over time, being responsible stopped being a choice, and it became who you are. It became your identity. Why saying no is difficult? Let's take two examples. First, let's look at someone who identifies themselves as an athlete. Working out in the gym feels very natural to them, and having a fit body is part of their identity. That's example one. Let's look at another example for someone who identifies themselves as an artist. A fit body might not necessarily be an identity, but being creative and engaging in creative discussions is very much a part of who they are. Similarly, when you identify yourself as someone who is responsible, it is natural to accommodate everything that's asked of you, even if that means that you get overloaded. And it because of this identity that saying no becomes so difficult. Until one day you realize you are carrying way too much. But by then, you don't know how to stop. How to interrupt the overload? Let's look at what we can do about this phase. Not by pushing harder, but by resetting our system. Here is the 3-step approach which has worked again and again. It's proven. Step 1 is awareness. Start noticing where you are saying yes when you actually want to say no. Observe your day and your activities and make a note of where you took more than what was comfortable for you. Do this for a few days, and then you'll observe a pattern. Step 2 is to define your boundaries. Decide in advance what is acceptable for you and what is not. For example, if an office meeting at 10 p.m. is not acceptable to you, write it down. Similarly, look at work tasks, discussion with colleagues, with friends, with family members, and define very clearly what you accept and what you don't. Because if you don't define your boundaries, others will do it for you. Step 3 is communicate your boundaries calmly, clearly, and consistently. You might have to say it out, repeat it often, set as your status messages, whichever way works best for you to convey to others what's not acceptable. Now, what's the consequence of not addressing this overload phase? If you don't interrupt it here, it doesn't stay as overload. It moves to friction and stress. Then you go numb. Then you withdraw. That's the full burnout cycle. And most people don't realize when they have crossed that line. They realized it only after it becomes a bit too late. So, if you're observing any of this, if you're seeing that your boundaries are getting compromised, take action today. So, what's the big takeaway from this video? Overload is dangerous because nothing looks wrong. Everything is working as usual. But something inside you knows that something is not right. You are not the same person you used to be. That awareness is your first step to take back control. So here's a simple question. Are you in the overload phase right now? If you feel you are, you're not alone. And more importantly, just remember you are not weak. You are just overloaded. And overload can be reversed. This is the Resilience Pulse. If this added value, please do consider subscribing. Take care and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.